2. Sometimes when we're in pain, we want to react at the person we feel is causing us pain. But if you can get one layer deeper, people aren't causing your pain. Your thoughts about a situation are causing your pain. I mean, unless someone is actively attacking you. And in that moment, someone is wounding you, yes. But a lot of times, like maybe 90% of the time, the wounds are in our own minds, recycled garbage thoughts and patterns. So I have one. It's one that, I have many. I have one in particular that's up for me right this second that looks like a form of jealousy, or it looks like a weird kind of envy and self-preservation and protection, and it looks like control, and it looks like self-pity, and it looks like feeling ignored. So if you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, it's a trauma. It's a real wound of a real thing that happened over and over in my childhood. And so when we become adults, we seek to control those moments in the people who've grown closest to us. And so if you find yourself behaving a particular way, act at somebody else, like you're trying to control how they're behaving and how they're treating you, The real wound is inside yourself. The real trauma is in yourself, and it has nothing to do. In fact, if anything, we're supposed to learn how to allow other people to be themselves. And then when someone does that is truly just them being themselves, and it's not even a harmful thing, if it's something that flares up one of your traumas, that is a moment to look at your own pain. And what I've done that's wrong is, in those moments, I've either wanted to control outward or attack outward or criticize outward at the person being themselves, or I have wanted to try to rewrite my own feelings about the thing that's painful for me so that I don't feel the pain. But growing up, becoming a better person, is not about avoiding pain. It is not about controlling. These are two opposite extremes. There's controlling externals to such an intense degree that you don't have to feel the pain. Or there's this delusional sort of happy sappy thing that I like to do so that I'm not a controlling of externals person, other than some boundaries that I need to feel okay in my life. But in order to be more allowing than I maybe otherwise would have been, I've rewritten my own internals. I've controlled my internals. And I only stopped doing that maybe about a year ago. But I used to do it so extremely. I would try really hard to not be controlling and to allow other people's preferences, to the point where I voiced almost no preferences, and then I would rewrite my own internal world to match the preferences of others so that I could be both perceived as allowing and nice and friendly and welcoming, so that I could be perceived as the qualities I admire while preaching authenticity, but rewriting my inside so strongly that I didn't allow myself to feel those pains. And I think it's because there are certain pains I just don't understand. And, things that come down to like jealousy or fear or, watching people close to me be close to other people who are people that I get red flag feelings about. That's probably my biggest thing. And this is not just a romantic thing, it's in friendships too. When I am close to somebody, I have a hard time understanding how they can feel also close to certain people that I think are borderline toxic. And I don't like using that word. I use it very sparingly. But all my years with being with abusive people means that I feel like I spot it when someone's kind of manipulative. But someone could probably say the same thing about me, because maybe manipulation is just control and trying to create your own reality, your own safe reality. So, I don't know. Maybe it comes down to sharing, but let's get back to the original point that I was trying to make, which is there's also just a grief there. There's a grief and a fear and a pain there that I've been spending my life trying to rewrite. I've been trying to ignore the fact that I want to be a welcoming person. I want to be an allowing person. I want to be an open person who's loving and lovely. But what it turns out, what I actually am, is an introvert writer who needs at least every other weekend at our house completely free of visitors, and I need time and space to create, time to push reset on my own backed up feelings that come from all the people that we interact with all week long. And if I don't have that kind of boundary on my home space, like this is my home space, if I don't have, if I feel like my home space is an airport or a museum and people come in and out all the time, I can't be myself, because myself is a writer, myself is a creative, and myself is a person that needs a lot of space and time to process life. And for better or for worse. But I think it's honestly a reaction to being fed up with what I do, which is when people come over being fake, rewriting my own self and my own needs for other people all the time. If someone comes over, dropping everything and being a host, or dropping everything and caring only about them, their needs, their music, their projects, whatever, and putting a complete pause button on the fact that I'm also a writer, I'm also a songwriter, I'm also someone who releases albums. Like, nobody ever, who lives in my experience, people don't come over and then talk about my creative life. It never comes up, and I don't bring it up. And so when I'm around people, my artist self is completely on hold, because people don't ask me about it. They don't usually want to hear about it. They're not curious about it. They're not following my records. They're not interested in what may or may not be some form of genius or connection to God. They find no conversational connection to me on that point. They just like my niceness. They like my soul. They like my heart. They like being around me. But most people are not engaged with me on those topics. And so if they were, maybe I wouldn't need to be so introverted. But I feel the need to be introverted because it feels like when I'm around people, it just feels like most people don't care at all about who I actually am as a person. Like, they don't want to talk about writer life. They don't want to talk about philosophy. They don't want to talk about spirituality. They don't want to ask me about my albums. They don't want to listen to them. They don't, So it's really, so I'm just sort of over it, like, if someone wants to come over a lot, but then it's just going to be about them or their music or who they are, then I don't, every other weekend, max, like, I can't, and that, I think that those emotions feel so petty to me and feel so childish to me, but in reality, it's probably not petty and it's probably not childish. It's probably the absolute foundation of where introverts come from. If introverts or shy people are people who don't lead with anything about themselves, I feel all narcissistic having a YouTube channel, but I'm actually, if you knew me in person, I have a very hard time talking about my own work without feeling really weird pretty quickly and then letting the conversation go off it. And I don't make people play music with me when I see them, and I don't make people share my interests. I just glom into theirs. I will ask them about their sports life. I will ask them about their work life. I will ask them about their hobbies. I will do their hobbies with them. I will go play their sports or their games with them. I'll go on their boats, or I'll drink their beers, or I'll do whatever, and I will talk with them about anything that interests them. But I almost never, I will even listen to their type of music. I will literally drop my own love of my own genre and feel weird if I ever impose that on you or anyone. I did one time, one evening, and it was very awkward with some different people than the ones I was just mentioning about. Like, I just kept saying, like, well, can I pick every other song when we were listening to music publicly? And it just made things awkward, because I want to listen to this, like, very soothing kind of stuff, and they were wanting to listen to, like, rock out, jam out, kind of 70s and 80s rock, and it's like, and I got annoyed at the feeling of annoying people. I got annoyed at the feeling of imposing my preferences in a room, and so then I dropped it and went back to just not even bothering, not even trying to be myself in a communal space. And I think that's why shows feel so weird to me, because I haven't found an audience. I haven't found a crowd that would just come out to hear my songs. And because I haven't found them, I act like they don't exist. But the thing is, I know there are people like me everywhere. They're everywhere. And they feel invisible in spaces. And they feel unloved. And they feel dishonored or unhonored by people when they're around them. I know they exist because they come up to me sometimes one-on-one, or they, at a show. I know they exist, but it's just hard to be this in a world that mostly that mostly doesn't want this. It mostly doesn't want art songs, feeling songs, crying publicly, or like whatever this is. Like, most people don't want to get to the core of some sort of vulnerability. But I put these here because I'm trying to create an allowance for you to do it too. And I used to want to write a book, like a Julia Cameron book or an Elizabeth Gilbert book or something on creativity, but all that would be like a way of killing my natural nature and formulating myself into bullet points, when really I just keep wanting to be free and being an artist and just share. So, I don't know. But that's what that song was about, because do I really want the experience of being an artist? Because if so, that's a kind of sad life. Or do I want the feeling of being a person who has their name on an album that's on a shelf in your office, you know, like, ooh, look at this cool product made by Jessica Fogel. Like, that's what I used to be. Before I moved to West Michigan, when I lived in Chicago, I was the other. I just wanted my name on things, like a pretty picture, and then there's my name, Jessica Fogel. And that's what my first couple albums were. And I waited forever. I stalled because I wanted to do it perfectly, which is not a bad impulse. I wanted to try to do it so well. I just didn't know anything about marketing and promoting, but I was trying to do it in the, like, very official way. But I didn't know anything about marketing and promoting, so we'll see. I'm not sure what steps are next. I got a lot of this kind of crazy to just kind of let go of. I don't think this is actually crazy. I just think this is the inside of the art, and I haven't figured out what the external packaging is of this. And maybe there isn't any. Maybe you just can't. Maybe this will just be what I did for these years as a way to grow as an artist. But I feel like my desire to move to places that are a little less, whatever this is for me, is it's like a desire and an interest in getting back to the packaging thing, you know. And I think I need to stop seeing that as vapid, because a lot of these people who are artists on the inside are secretly wanting to also be the thing on the shelf. And then acting, like playing, like as if it's not about that. Like, oh, I just want to do the art. But then they act mopey if they don't get more likes. So then that's a lie. Like, you either are just about the art and you truly don't care if anyone's watching, or you are about the packaging and you are about your name on the shelf and the cool thing and the experience. And if so, you have to come to terms with that. You have to come to terms with the fact that that might make you feel like that's cheap or vapid or gross. You have to come to terms with that. Like, there's a band I know that's worked very hard curating something, and now they're on a label, and the thing they are is very curated, and you can see how curated and polished it is. You just can. And I don't know. I think you can't hate the thing that gets you the thing that you're trying to tell yourself you don't want, while simultaneously being the opposite. You can't hate the thing that you're secretly wanting. It's like when a bunch of starving artists hate rich people, but then also want to be successful as an artist. It's like, what is success? Do you know what success is? Success is tons of people knowing you. And if it's tons of people knowing you and not giving you any money at all, you'd probably get resentful, especially if they were demanding things of you, like, come play this show, come do this thing. If you made zero money doing that and actually lost money and did it all on credit cards, you'd actually end up kind of resentful. So in other words, success is correlated with money, at least enough money to live. So you can't hate rich people and secretly want some of the things they have. You can, but you're sending out opposite messages into the universe then. I mean, this is very law of attraction stuff. I keep stumbling on my own piano. Anyway, I don't know why I'm rambling about all this. I was feeling a lot after that song, and I had to let it out, I guess. Bye.